One of the most important unanswered questions about the universe is, are we alone? Are we the only life in the universe? Or are there other civilizations out there thinking the same thing? There is no question that the discovery of life on another body in our solar system or in our galaxy will completely change humanity forever. One of the ways scientists are trying to answer that question is to study exoplanets, planets outside our solar system. To date, nearly 4,000 exoplanets have been discovered, the first being discovered less than 30 years ago. Since then, significant scientific research has been conducted to find more and more worlds outside our solar system, some of which could be candidates for the existence of life. In this video, we will look at 5 of the most potentially habitable exoplanets discovered to date, how they compare to Earth, and how likely it is that life in any form could have existed there in the past, now, or in the future. Number 5. TRAPPIST-1d. TRAPPIST-1d is a small exoplanet, roughly 30% the size of the Earth, which is orbiting in the habitable zone of the star TRAPPIST-1. The system, located approximately 40 light-years from Earth, was discovered in 1999 and has 7 detected planets in orbit around the star. The star at the center of the system, TRAPPIST-1, is an ultra-cool red dwarf star, roughly the size of the planet Jupiter, and all 7 planets orbiting the star are contained within a distance as short as the distance between our Sun and the planet Mercury. These planets were named in order of their discovery, with the letter B being designated to the first exoplanet discovered, C to the second, and so on. We will discuss another of these exoplanets later in the video. TRAPPIST-1d was discovered at the end of 2015 at the Institute of Astrophysics and Geophysics at the University of Liège in Belgium, and published in the May 2016 issue of the scientific journal Nature. The discovery was made by using the transit method, which is a way of measuring how much the light we can see from the host star dims as the potential planet crosses in front of the star and the observer on Earth. Through this method, scientists were able to calculate that TRAPPIST-1d is approximately 75% the size of the Earth, but only about 25% the mass of the Earth, making it one of the least massive exoplanets found to date. The planet orbits its host star in only 4.05 Earth days. In other words, 1 year on TRAPPIST-1d lasts a mere 97 hours. Its orbit lies within the inner boundary of the system's Goldilocks zone, meaning the surface temperature is low enough for water to pool on the surface. Due to the fact that this planet, as well as most of the other planets in the TRAPPIST system, are likely tidally locked to the star, meaning one side of the planet always faces its star and one side always faces away from its star, similar to how the Moon is tidally locked to the Earth. If the planet has a thin atmosphere, or no atmosphere at all, this would leave one side of the planet completely scorched and incredibly hot, while the other side would be freezing and covered in ice. However, if the planet has a larger atmosphere or oceans on the surface, the heat may be distributed more evenly around the planet, making it more likely to be habitable. This planet could very well be a world of immense oceans capable of supporting life. And who knows what kind of life may be thriving there now, or what kind of life existed on the planet in the past. With the launch of the James Webb Telescope in 2021 and its planned observations of the TRAPPIST system, hopefully we will learn more about each of the planets and their potential for habitability. Number 4. Luyten b. Located a mere 12.2 light-years from Earth, Luyten b is one of the most Earth-like exoplanets ever discovered. It was discovered alongside Luyten c in June 2017, and many factors lead astronomers to believe it to be habitable. Due to Luyten B's orbital radius of about 0.09 astronomical units, or 13.6 million kilometers, and its host star's low luminosity, Luyten B is orbiting well within the habitable zone of the system. At only 2.9 times the mass of the Earth, it is almost certainly a rocky planet, and if the planet has an Earth-like atmosphere that would enable the distribution of heat around the planet, Luyten B would have an average surface temperature of about 292 Kelvin, or 19 degrees Celsius, very similar to that of the Earth. The characteristics of its host star, Luyten star, are also a major factor in its potential habitability. Luyten star is a red dwarf, approximately a quarter the mass of the Sun, and has 35% of the Sun's radius. The star is a very quiet host, with a very long rotational period of 118 days, and is not prone to strong solar flares. This means that Luyten B's atmosphere, if it has one, is likely to retain an atmosphere for billions of years, which could lead to conditions suitable for the development of life as we know it. This planet is such a likely candidate for life beyond our solar system that METI, Messaging Extraterrestrial Intelligence, a non-profit research organization, has sent 2 messages containing many short musical compositions and scientific tutorials towards the planet in hopes of communicating with and contacting potential civilizations. The messages were sent in October of 2017 and October of 2018 from the IceCat transmitter in Tromsø, Norway. If life does exist on the planet, and they have developed the capability to send and receive messages, we could hear back from them as soon as 2042. According to Doug Vakoch, president and founder of METI, if a message is received back from Luyten B, it will mean that the Milky Way is teeming with life. Number 3. Gliese 581G. Gliese 581G, informally known as Zarmina, is an unconfirmed exoplanet in the Gliese 581 system, which is located 20 light-years from Earth. The exoplanet was claimed to have been discovered in September 2010 by astronomers in the Lick-Carnegie Exoplanet Survey by using radial velocity measurements. This method observes Doppler shifts in the spectrum of the planet's parent star. As a planet orbits a star, the star moves around a small orbit at the center of gravity between the 2 objects. By observing how the light's wavelength increases and decreases regularly over a period of time, an exoplanet can be detected or claimed to exist. The planet is located within the habitable zone of Gliese 581 and orbits at 0.13 astronomical units, or 19 million kilometers, completing one orbit in 32 days. It is estimated that the average global equilibrium temperature of the planet is between -64 and -45 degrees Celsius. Adding an Earth-like greenhouse effect would yield an average surface temperature between -37 and -12 degrees Celsius. If the conditions were right, particularly regarding the planet's atmosphere, liquid water may exist on the surface. In comparison, the present global equilibrium temperature on Earth is -18 degrees Celsius, which increases to around 15 degrees Celsius by greenhouse effects. However, when life evolved in the early history of the Earth, the Sun's energy output was lower than it is now, around 75% of its current value, meaning that Gliese 581G's conditions may be similar to that of the Earth in its early history. While the existence of this planet is disputed, Stephen Vogt, the principal investigator of the Lick-Carnegie Exoplanet Survey, says that the planet has a 100% chance of supporting life. If he is correct, who knows what kind of life exists on this planet, and whether or not they have conversely observed us and thought the same. Number 2. Teegarden B. Discovered in June 2019, Teegarden B orbits Teegarden star, an M-type red dwarf around 12 light-years away from the solar system. Although the star is near Earth, it has a dim magnitude, meaning it can only be seen through large telescopes. Teegarden B is the innermost planet in the system, with an orbital period of just 4.91 days. The minimum mass of the planet is 1 Earth mass, and probably has a very similar radius to that of the Earth, which suggests that the exoplanet has a very similar Earth-like composition, with an iron core and a rocky crust. It is very likely that this exoplanet has an ocean of water on its surface. Teegarden has the highest ESI ever, with a score of 0.95. ESI stands for the Earth Similarity Index, which measures how similar exoplanets are to the Earth. Teegarden B orbits in an optimistic habitable zone in the system, making its surface temperature somewhere between 0 degrees and 50 degrees Celsius. The discovery of Teegarden B and its companion Teegarden C constitute an exciting discovery, even though we don't know for sure what the conditions are like on the planet itself. But one thing is for sure. Teegarden B's discovery has shown again that smaller, rocky planets, like the Earth, are very common in the galaxy, and that we may never know how many habitable exoplanets are out there, and how many of them have life of some sort. Number 1. TRAPPIST-1e. Number 1 on our list is TRAPPIST-1e. Neighbors with TRAPPIST-1d, which we talked about earlier in this video. TRAPPIST-1e is a potentially habitable, almost Earth-sized exoplanet orbiting within the habitable zone of the TRAPPIST-1 system. TRAPPIST-1e is extremely similar to Earth in terms of mass, radius, density, gravity, and temperature, and is also confirmed to have a compact atmosphere similar to the terrestrial planets in our solar system. What makes this number 1 on our list is that in November 2018, researchers concluded that of the 7 planets in the TRAPPIST-1 system, 1e holds the greatest chance of being an ocean planet. The host star, TRAPPIST-1, which we discussed earlier in this video, has the ability to live for up to 4 or 5 trillion years, around 500 times longer than our Sun. This makes the chances of life existing on the planet in the past, now, or in the future much more likely. Additionally, if the atmosphere is thick enough, a large portion of the planet may be habitable, with liquid water existing on large areas of the planet. Being so Earth-like and potentially habitable, TRAPPIST-E will be one of the early targets of study for the James Webb Telescope, and will allow for a more detailed analysis of the planet's atmosphere and search for biosignatures that may point towards life existing on the planet. So, those were 5 of the most potentially habitable exoplanets that have been discovered to date. What are your thoughts? Do you think there is life out there in the universe? Do you think we're alone in the universe? Leave your comments below, and we'll see you in the next video.